This video is going to discuss taking the square root function and rewriting it to fit a line that goes in the opposite direction of the parent function or is shifted down and maybe stretched, dilated a little bit differently than the parent function. So let's take a look first at the parent function. The parent function is y equals the square root of x. It has these 3 points to begin the entire function. 0, 0 is the starting point, or you might call it the vertex point because it's the point where it would turn and go the other direction if it were a quadratic. But it's a square root. So let's call it the starting point. The very next point is over 1 up 1. The very next point is over 4 up 2. And it keeps going. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. So the next point would be 9 up 3. So we need to take this parent function and we need to transform it into the function y equals a times the square root of x minus h plus k, where h, k is where we start. So hk is where we start. That's why in the parent function, 0, 0 is where we start. H and k here are 0, but whenever you're adding and subtracting 0, you don't actually have to write it. So I want to start with this function over here. This function, I forgot to put the y value, but let's say that y value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5. So I have a square root function that starts at 10, negative 5 and goes through the point 14, 2. So I want to make sure that this line is modeled by this type of equation. Well, we're going to start with y equals a times the square root of x minus h plus k. Well, if I start at 10, negative 5, then my hk is equal to 10, negative 5. So my equation instantly becomes y equals a times the square root of x minus 10 and then plus a negative 5, or we could just put minus 5. My issue now is that I need to somehow figure out what a is. And that's where the second point comes into play. So I need to take the x value of 14 and the y value of 2 that we have right here, and I need to substitute in for x and y to solve for a. So if I have negative 2 is my y value, that equals a times the square root of x minus 10 minus 5. I know that x is 14. And then I can simplify. I have negative 2 equals a times the square root of 14 minus 10 is 4. And then minus 5 out front. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And I have negative 2 plus 5 is 3 equals a. And then the square root of 4, guys, we know that to be a value of 2. The last thing I want to do is divide by 2. And then I see here that a equals 3 over 2. You can also write 1.5 in this scenario. So my final function, we're going to take this a value and we're going to put it right back in here. So my final equation is going to be y equals 3 over 2 times the square root of x minus 10 minus 5. This function models this brown dotted line from 10, negative 5 all the way through 14, 2.